Hi guys, I wanted to make a video of all of my vintage bottles and pacifiers. I do have a lot of vintage baby stuff. I've been definitely collecting a lot more over the past year or two. So I have some bottles and pacifiers. They're like our two groups. Some I know for sure are vintage and the other ones are either ones that I'm not sure about or ones that are definitely older items that are kind of out of style but aren't technically vintage. So, at least yet, or close to. So, yeah, I'm going to start with the stuff I know for sure is vintage. So, I'm going to go with pacifiers first. So, first, I have this Ma'am. It's a Ma'am Mini, and it just is yellow and it's pretty thin, like a thin plastic. So, I don't know the exact date on these. My older brother used this kind of pacifier. He was born in 95, but I think these had been out for a bit before he was a baby. So, assuming these are early to mid 90s. And then I have this Playtex one. It's all silicone. It's kind of a bigger silicone pacifier. Like, it doesn't look like it's exactly newborn size. It looks more like it's a 3-month and up to me, but it's kind of shaped like a butterfly. And then the nipple on it is kind of interesting. It's supposed to mimic the Playtex bottle nipples, or the old style ones. So this is from 98, I believe, because I had this was new in box. And then same with these are from also Playtex from the same time period, late 90s. And these are round, and they have a handle, but the handle is kind of fixed in place. So you can see this one kind of shows some wear on the color. So yeah, these are pretty cool. These were originally gel filled, so they had some kind of gel inside of the nipple. And what happened was whatever that gel was had completely hardened inside. So I don't like to keep things in box. That's just not how I like to enjoy collecting things. So I took them out of the box, and the only thing I could really do was modify them. So yeah, that's the story behind those. And for bottles, I have a Johnson & Johnson Health Flow. This is, I think, a 5-ounce. Yeah. So Johnson's used to make, like Johnson & Johnson's used to make baby bottles. So yeah, that's this one, and then it has little teddy bears, and this one is dated 1996. And it's an angled bottle. I like how the design faces this way, so you can kind of see it better instead of it being upside down. And then these are my vintage Playtex Nursiers, like the drop-in bottles. This one is pretty old. This one is dated of 91, so this one is pretty old. This was probably around the time they started making the patterns, because they used to just make plain, like, clear ones, and then they started doing the colors and designs. So yeah, I really like the teal and like the animals and just all the primary colors. It's very 90s to me. So there's that one. And then I have this one. This one is about 10 years behind that one. So this one is 2001. But it's still the same style. Like, you wouldn't really be able to tell unless you looked at the dates. But yeah, this one's 2001. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I know they did like a nursery rhyme collection. So I know there's one with like Hey Diddle Diddle. So I really like this one. I like the design. And then now moving on to things that I'm not sure about or are just older things, but not quite vintage. So there's this bottle. It looks vintage to me. Like, it looks like it's at least 20 years old, just based on the design of it and, you know, the style. It's that like vintage bottle plastic where it's kind of more brittle than the ones nowadays. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. And then I have this Barney bottle. This one's from 2006. I know they sold this at the dollar store back then. So yeah, just really cute. I've had this for a while now, probably 10 years. So it's not technically vintage, but Barney, I think, is considered a vintage character because, you know, he's not really around now. So there's that one. That's the last of the bottles. And then I have this pacifier clip. This is a ma'am one. And I know this one's older, but I'm not exactly sure when it is from. This is another ma'am. I don't think this one is vintage, but it's the older style before they made the current designs. So I really like that one as well. Carly came with this pacifier. This is an old, like, Dollar Tree pacifier. It has, like, a decorated handle. I don't know if these are technically vintage because the Dollar Tree brand, that's Baby King, they still make a lot of baby stuff that looks vintage, but it's not. So I think this may have been produced, you know, after this was more out of style, but I'm not sure, but it's very cool. I never really used this one, but I've always thought it was really interesting. Then I have this Tweety one. I think this may be a mid or late 2000s, but I'm not sure. This was also a dollar store line, the Looney Tunes. And then I have this one. This is also a dollar store one. I have another one that's pink with the same handle, but I have misplaced it. This is latex. Just because something is latex doesn't mean that it is vintage. Usually it means that it's at least 10 years old, but not always. But this one is definitely an older style. I have these two event ones. I'm not sure how old these are. These might be early 2000s, but they just have little bears on them. Really cute. And these are modified for Liam. So these are super cute, and I always forget that I have them. Yeah, so those are the event. And lastly, I have a bunch of Nook pacifiers. So I'm going to show you these ones. These, I believe, are early 2000s. So it's like two different packs. So the girl ones are modified, the boy ones aren't. But as you can see, these all had silicone nipples. So this is this style. See how it's more of the standard. Same with this one, but then these have the clear handles, which I think are really cool. So yeah, I think these are early 2000s, so these actually might be vintage. So there's those, and then I have this one, which is probably from around the same time. I really like the colors on this. And then these are all similar style. Some of these I got maybe 13 years ago, or maybe even longer. Some of these are probably maybe more like 15. So I have these. So these white Nooks, they gave out in hospitals a lot. Until I think everyone uses the Soothies now, but they had these for quite a while. So these came with Claudia and Kayla, so they're just all white, which I think is pretty cool. So obviously they have the latex nipple, and same with this one. I used Nook pacifiers when I was little, and they were kind of the same style, so these could be vintage. I'm not completely sure. But my younger brother used this same color Nook with the teal. So he was born in 2001, so these could be vintage. So yeah, and I like this one. It's kind of rare to find latex, especially pacifier nipples that aren't all sticky and gross and disintegrating. I do keep this in a MAM case that the pacifiers come in, just so it doesn't, you know, touch all the other ones and get dirty. And then these are all kind of similar. These are like newborn, but these I think are like 0 to 6. So yeah, just some different colors, and these all have latex. This I think I did get when I had Carly, so that would have been in 2010, so 12 years ago. So yeah, I think some of these iterations are probably vintage, but some of them are more mid or very late 2000s. But yeah, those are just some things I wasn't exactly sure about. But yeah, I hope you guys liked my little collection. I have a lot more vintage baby stuff, mainly clothing. I do have a vintage car seat. So let me know if you guys would like to see any more vintage collection videos. Thank you so much for watching.